So please let me share that now. Welcome members of the Rules Committee of the Legal Services Trust Fund, liaisons, members of the public, and other staff members to this meeting of the Rules Committee of the Legal Services Trust Fund. We are using Zoom with the goal of fostering a more inclusive environment and effective meeting. If you'd like to comment during the meeting, please type "I have a comment" or "I have a question" in the chat, and a message will be sent to the host. Alternatively, you can also use the raise hand feature. In efforts of transparency for all those joining the public meeting, whether by phone or Zoom, we request that you refrain from having side conversations on chat about the content of the meeting. Again, the chat feature is utilized simply as a tool for you to virtually indicate that you would like to speak in order to help the chair facilitate the discussion. This meeting will be recorded and posted to the State Bar website, so please be aware of your surroundings behind you. If you are having any difficulties using Zoom while on, well, here's some troubleshooting tips. For those using Zoom on a computer, when on mute, holding down the space bar will temporarily unmute you. If you use your phone to dial into this meeting, please be sure your computer's microphone is on mute to avoid audio feedback issues. And when joining audio via computer is highly recommended. If an individual loses audio, you can call in separately using the Zoom conference number. And if it's getting a little spotty for you, you're always free to turn off your video. That might help you with your audio. I think that that's our housekeeping.
Great, thanks, Dan. I'm just looking at, do we have quorum? I don't know that we have.
I believe we might have quorum. Would you like me to do roll call?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Tom.
Al-Saraf,
Present.
Fightmaster, Blakemore, Connolly,
Here.
Friedman, Meeker,
Here.
We have
Judge
three.
Seligman.
I think you called my name, yes.
Okay, yeah, we actually don't have quorum.
Okay,
I can do roll call for our liaisons and staff, and maybe hopefully by then another person will join.
okay, that sounds good. That'd be great.
Christine Gonan, Mark Tony, Selena Copeland.
Present.
And then State Bar staff, Crystal Bundang,
Present.
Elizabeth,
Present.
Brady Dewar.
President, I just wanted to note, I have a conflicting call at 2:30, so I'll have to jump off then, but if we're still going, you can email me, obviously.
Okay, of course. And then I think I saw Donna as well, Donna Hershowitz.
Yes, I am here and I will have to jump off at about 1:30.
Okay, great. Are there any other members of the public who would like to introduce yourself right now?
Oh, Dwan, Bridget Grammy has just joined the call.
Oh, great. Welcome, Bridget.
To the Rules Subcommittee. Bridget has joined the State Bar as the new Deputy Chief of Programs. Bridget comes to us from the Center for Public Interest Law at the University of San Diego School of Law. We are thrilled to have Bridget join our ranks. She will be a huge asset to the State Bar. As a Deputy Chief of Programs, the Office of Access and Inclusion and the important work of the Legal Services Trust Fund Commission falls under her bailiwick, though on a sort of day-to-day basis, the Office of Access and Inclusion will continue to report directly to me and not to Bridget, but she will be involved and become fully knowledgeable in all the work of the commission as well. So we want to take the opportunity to introduce her to the group.
Welcome, Bridget.
Hi, Bridget.
Thank you so much. Thank
Welcome.
you. Thanks.
I mean, I'm gonna email Luis really quick. I know Catherine's running late and Corey's not, so hopefully Luis can join, but would you like to, we can skip over the action summary since we don't have quorum, but would you like to proceed with the presentation, the business items?
I suppose if we can, if we're permitted to do that, that makes sense, or take public comment first, whichever we're
Sure,
permitted to do.
Are there any members of the public who have a comment at this time? And I don't see any actually members of the public, so. Kim, do you have visibility into other?
There's no members of the public and there's nothing in the chat.
So I could do, if we move into, just skip over to the discussion action items, I could just give a brief update on the work plan and then we can segue into our other items. I mean, if that's okay.
That sounds good. Let's do
Okay.
that. Thanks, Tom.
Great. So I just wanted to give a really quick update on the work plan. So as you know, we had to reshuffle a couple of the items because to deal with expungements, and then our pass-through and exchange funds is getting moved back to the next meeting. So I'll recirculate the latest work plan, but for our upcoming, for our September meeting, next month, we will be dealing with a pass-through and exchange funds, and then hopefully after that, we'll be back on cycle for the rest of the year. All of our fiscal issues are probably going to need to be tackled in 2022, unless we're very efficient at the next couple meetings. Then we might be able to tuck in some at the November meeting. Okay. So we're now on agenda item B, Amin, which is an update on the treatment of expungements and infractions. And
Okay.
I can provide that update.
Okay.
So just really quickly, so the latest update that we provided was at the last commission meeting, where we had provided everybody an update that the working group, that subcommittee working group, that subcommittee working group of this rules committee, which is comprised of Judge Seligman, who's on the rules committee, Justice Murray, who's not on the rules committee, and Catherine Blakemore, who is on the working committee, had drafted some proposed language. There was some feedback at that point from the legal aid committee in wanting to broaden that definition of expungements and infractions a little bit more. So the working group went back and reconvened and had some proposed language that we circulated through LAC to the legal aid community, and they were very pleased with the suggested revisions. The state bar staff then shared that with the legislature. There were some technical questions that the legislature had that were able to answer all of them, and I think everything is on the path to being approved. Selena, Don, I don't know if you have any other further insights.
So Dwan is correct. The legislature agreed with the amendments following our clarification of some technical questions that they had. They will draft language that will be included in SB 211. And that will be amended on the assembly floor next week.
So we'll provide an email update as soon if that's approved. Or are there any other questions coming from that hearing? And I see
Looks like Erica and Brady. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Is SB 211 the fee bill or the other bill they were thinking about putting it in?
It's the state bar fee bill, the SB 498, the other bill by Senator Umberg, which addresses the client eligibility, income eligibility, was on consent on the floor. And since we were already planning on amending Senate Bill 211, Senator Umberg, who is the author of both bills, was comfortable putting it in SB 211, so they didn't have to sidetrack SB 498 as it moved through the process. I'm guessing we didn't have the explicit conversation with them, but looking at the status of where the bill is, that's my assumption of why they preferred to put it in Senate Bill 211.
Okay.
Erica?
Yeah, sorry, this was something when we were going over the language in the trust fund commission meeting, I just wanted to, I noticed this there and I just wanted to see if I understand. The way the language states now, I know at our last rules committee meeting, we had a debate about infractions and infraction defense. And so I just want to clarify, it reads to me like we are now saying infraction defense is qualifying. And I just want to confirm that that is where we ended up. Yeah,
Yes.
okay, great. Because I know that was like a debate. I just wanted to make sure.
Right. And the distinction we made was just to make clear, we're not dealing where guilt and innocence is involved other than that. In infraction defense, we allow that because a lot of organizations deal with that in terms of poverty and homelessness stuff. So that was where we ended up.
Perfect. Okay, great. Yeah, no, I think that's a great change. So I'm glad that
Good.
made it. Awesome. Thank you.
And there was also a comment from Judge Yasko at the commission meeting regarding we don't want it to appear as if we're limiting, it's limited to only these exceptions. So there was a clause that was added, like a catch-all. Selena?
Just on the point of infractions, we had some quick Zoom calls and convenings with legal aid community to better understand their infraction work. I think a lot of us thought that most of the infraction work was in post-conviction infractions, but in reaching out to the community, we discovered that they are doing actually a lot of infraction defense work, largely as part of the homelessness prevention projects. And then actually the Legal Services Corporation had a memo, right on topic about how, even though we think of this as criminal, it's actually very different because you don't have public defenders in infraction work. And so there was a fast and furious work over the course of like 1 week to really see if we could fix it all at one go. And we were able to do that. And I don't know if Dwan has thanked the working group enough, but I also want to thank the working group because it was a lot of work in a very short period of time to really dive into that issue. So thank you, Judge Solomon, for being on that working group.
Yeah, and I think this is a really good result of an issue that really came to our attention last year when we dove in to see whether or not we had the authority to fund expungements and what the funds could be used for, what were used for qualified expenditures, and it sort of became this very thorny issue. And through this process, right, we identified some other oddities of the statute in terms of where it referenced civil legal services and where it didn't reference civil legal services. And so for us to come up with this resolution so quickly and really on a policy basis, this is the right thing to do. And it's really nice that we were able to address this issue quickly with the legislature, and the legislature being so responsive to be able to impact the policy in the right way. So it was really validating, I think, to sort of see that process develop and conclude so quickly. So thanks to everybody.
I want to echo that, and it does feel like the purpose of the Rules Committee is really to look at all of our policies and really to dive in. And this is just a good example of where we have been able to make progress, and with the collaboration of feedback from the community and the quick work of the committee members have really changed that will give us that consistency and really be true to what the statute is intended to be. So thank you all.
Yeah, and I want to recognize Justice Murray, who wasn't even a member, who really brought invaluable assistance to that.
Yeah, much thanks to you guys for the work that you did. And to echo Dwan's point, I think, at the risk of expanding the scope of what we will be doing, I think this was a good testament to how we can address these issues fairly quickly and methodically, and respond when there's sort of, we're doing some pushing in terms of looking at these things, but when there's some pull, to be able to jump in. And I think, as we talked about, I think towards the beginning of when we were moving forward with this committee, I think we will start learning and sort of figuring out that there are other things that we may want to add to what we're doing along these lines. And I think we're building a good foundation. So thank you to everybody. I think, I guess, Dawn, I defer to you, but I think we probably should jump into the next presentation and then see where we are by the end of all of this.
I think so. And hopefully by then, Catherine or Luis will join us. But I think given that it's already 12:15, that we should just dive into the meat of this meeting, which is a follow-up to the last meeting where we had a preliminary discussion on procedures and scoring rubric related to our discretionary grants. That working group did reconvene and took all of your suggestions and really that discussion to heart, and has crafted a recommendation to present to you. So with that, I'll hand it over to Crystal, who's the staff lead for that particular working group.
Great, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I just have a few slides. Just to note, the memo for this agenda item has been, it's posted on the website. It's a very big memo. This is an abbreviated version just to give a high level overview of what those recommendations were and some background. All right, so the working group members for this codification topic process for competitive discretionary grants include the Rules Committee members, Amin and Jim, as well as Christina Vanarelli, who is not a Rules Committee member, but is the chair of the Partnership Grants Committee. Couple of just the agenda for the presentation today, giving the status of the codification process and the timeline, going over the codification issues, the sub-issues under this particular topic, highlighting, summarizing the legal aid community feedback, and then you'll see the proposed revisions to the State Bar rules in that language, and the recommendations for the committee's consideration this afternoon. In terms of the codification process, we spoke, I guess it didn't feel too long ago, but on July 13th, the Rules Committee met to preview the codification issue. The purpose of this meeting was to give context and background. We went over the 4 current competitive discretionary grants, shared the background of governing authorities, review processes, et cetera, to garner committee feedback and thoughts at that meeting. From after that meeting and through July, the working group considered the feedback and then developed preliminary recommendations, which were then sent to LAC in early August to gather legal aid community feedback. Today, which is highlighted in yellow, is the Rules Committee meeting to hopefully discuss and improve those recommendations to be later transferred for review for the Legal Services Trust Fund Commission and then the Board of Trustees. All right, so the codification issues under the competitive discretionary grants review process, there were 3 that the working group considered. The first was whether a standard scoring rubric approach should be utilized for all future competitive discretionary grants, whether overlapping and scoring categories should be streamlined, and whether a standard application review process should be adopted for all competitive discretionary grants. I'll be talking about the issues one by one. Any of the working group members, Amin and Jim, feel free to interject as we go along. So in terms of the question of whether a standard scoring rubric should be used, here are some considerations that the working group thought about as they developed their recommendations. The first was, has it been used before? And the answer is yes. The bank grants had utilized a scoring rubric framework, and then more formal scoring rubrics were utilized by the remaining competitive discretionary grants, HP, Partnership Grant, and PLL. Another consideration is that scoring rubrics are regularly used by many large funders of discretionary grants supporting legal aid. The next consideration bullet point was kind of something that was emphasized at the July 13 meeting in terms of what is the purpose of the scoring rubric, and this is outlined in the memo as well. The working group kind of summarized that in terms of it is to provide transparency for applicants and to aim for equitable and consistent review of applications, with hopes that having a scoring rubric would enhance applicants' understanding of the grant requirements and completing the applications to the committee's requests and those requirements. Also, in terms of the committee end, providing a numeric baseline that they can compare the different applications and to help guide committee discussions. The working group also recognized the importance of retaining committee discretion and flexibility outside of the scoring rubric. And then in terms of the working group preliminary recommendations after the discussion and the committee feedback on July 13, the recommendations had the following kind of subpoints. The first was, yes, require the use of a scoring rubric for all competitive discretionary grants. The working group felt that it was important to maintain the flexibility, as I mentioned, so they did not have a specific scoring rubric at this time, but did want to outline that committees should use consistent selection criteria, categories, and definitions, and then all rubrics and distribution plans would be subject to commission approval before implementation. So pausing here first to see if there are any questions about this first issue. All right. Okay, I'll move on to the second one, which was the question of streamlining categories, highlighting some of the considerations. The first was recognizing that, the existing selection criteria, there are overlaps in those selection criteria. Another consideration was, whether specific points should be allocated to reinforce the consistency and standardization that we're aiming to have. And also recognizing that standard definitions would create continuity for applicants, as well as consistent interpretation by committee members. That led to the working group recommendations of streamlining the category definitions, specifically for the categories of rural, underserved communities, administration, evaluation, and continuity. Those specific definitions are in the memo that was posted for today's meeting. One call out is that the working group is recommending to define rural and underserved communities separately, and that's also in the memo. As part of this issue, another recommendation is to, again, maintain committee discretion to recommend the point designations based on the specific grant requirements and objectives. So we wouldn't have one rubric for all. This would be up to the discretion of the committee to decide. And then also a caveat is that the definitions provided in the memo would be subject to modification if there are any conflicting definitions in a grant's governing authorities. All right. Pausing here to see if there's any questions or comments about this issue. All right. All right, and then the third kind of sub issue under this codification topic was, whether there should be a standard review process for all the competitive discretionary grants. The committee did recognize, or the working group did recognize, that the review process has varied in terms of the level of committee and staff involvement. This has been due to committee preference, timeline restrictions, and other factors. Whether a specific review process should be codified. The working group preliminary recommendation regarding the review process is to not recommend a specific review process at this time. This is to allow flexibility for future grant requirements. They did want to share some considerations that the committees could consider when developing and implementing their scoring rubrics. That's to implement an initial and subsequent calibration process when feasible. The working group did recognize how valuable that process was, just in reinforcing scoring and understanding of the rubric categories. Another consideration is to possibly assign staff to make scoring recommendations on certain categories they are in the best position to assess, such as organizational capacity or kind of background of an applicant. Another consideration is to designate staff to develop a high, medium, or low assessment of all the applications, and then elevate specific categories for the committee's review. So these are all considerations, all optional, but the working group did want to highlight them as these were all helpful elements in prior review processes. Legal aid community feedback that we received. So the comments specifically support evaluating organizational capacity for competitive discretionary grants, including timely submission of applications, evaluations, and reports. There were no other specific comments about the other categories. Selena, I don't know if you have anything else to add about the feedback regarding this issue.
No, this feels really uncontroversial to me, honestly. And I had no feedback from the community. Everyone was pretty silent on it, and I ran it by my staff. The one piece about including language about timely submission of applications, evaluations, and reports is that seems to come up in the grant selection committees over and over again. Is, was this on time? Is it 2 minutes late? And so I think including language to the programs on the front end actually is more transparent. If it's going to be something that committee members are going to be assessing, applicants need to be really aware that that is something that they will be, it's part of the either part of the scoring rubric or part of the way the organizational capacity is assessed. So
Selena, this is Jim. I was wondering if there was any concern from the grantees about this issue of numbering or scoring. That is, whether or not that was presents a artificial scaling or a level of objectivity that's not really that objective. I know that was raised by this committee a little bit earlier in the summer. I was just wondering if the programs are concerned about that.
I didn't hear anything from anyone, but I don't know if it's also because this time of summer, when I give everybody the opportunity for feedback, it is summer where a lot of people were on vacation. But I would have expected to hear from a couple of programs at least, because I did reach out pretty widely. And I think people are used to scoring rubrics for other grants. And so it may be something that people are just used to seeing for their grants, and maybe careful creation of a rubric is really what's helpful for the committee.
Thanks.
Duan, you had your hand raised?
Yeah, I was just gonna touch on that timely submission piece, and then the same to touch on what Selena said, because in the latest HP scoring rubric, we do try to make really clear that part of the organizational capacity is timely submission of your reports and your grant applications, and so programs can get in their head that will be taken into consideration. And then what we do as staff for the committee members is we run a report and let them know. But even then, that's dealt with differently from one committee to another. Some committees only want to know kind of timely submissions and evaluations related to that grant. Some committee members or some committees have asked us to run a report on timely submission of all of our kind of reporting requirements and grant applications. So it is dealt with a little bit differently, but we have tried to be really clear in the scoring rubric that is a consideration.
Okay, great. So these are the proposed revisions to the state bar rules. So with the codifying of the scoring rubric, it wouldn't be a revision to an existing rule. So we're recommending that it be added to Rule 3.680 as a new section F with the following language. Also open to the committee if they have any, if you have any revisions or thoughts to editing this language. Okay. Oh, there's Catherine.
Hey.
Sorry. So my only question on this is, it says, the category weights, points allocation and implementation will be at the discretion of the commission. Is that intended to mean the full commission has to approve those for each grant? Or, I mean, it just seems like it's worked so that the various committees have approved that. I just want to make sure I understand.
I think in general, the commission has approved them, though oftentimes the commission does delegate authority to the committee.
And the delegation could be allowed under this language, yes?
Yeah, the delegation is always allowed. The status quo is that it's always the commission, but the commission has the authority to delegate it, to a committee or even to staff. But as you saw with the HP grants, they did delegate some authority to the committee, depending on what was formal or the competitive grant, in order to fine tune the scoring rubric.
Okay, thank you.
Jim?
Yeah, a question about the same phrasing of that last sentence. It's my understanding that the intent is to always make the scoring rubric public and available to the grantees before they write the proposals, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the scoring rubric, I believe, will be included in the RFPs, I think, as they are currently in the partnership grant and then HP as well. So.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And we also typically do a webinar to accompany the release of any of our grant applications. And then we go through the scoring rubric and the timelines and all kind of logistics of the grant.
All right. I think, Amin, you have your hand up.
I have a very minor comment. Yeah. I may be wrong on this, but I think as I read the second to last sentence, I think the word consideration at the end of that, should that be considerations? plural?
Oh, yes. Sorry,
Okay.
let me.
It's my substantive contribution.
You're in the working group, Amin. This is all your contribution. All right, any other comments? Jim, did you mean to put your hand down or did you have another comment? Oh, okay, great. So I'll just show the next slide. This is the resolution language for the committee's consideration today, if they're in agreement of kind of what we talked about, the working group's recommendations, and then this would be forwarded, advanced to the commission in February next year.
Do you need someone to bring a motion?
Yes, so this requires a
Okay. I'll move. This seems like a very straightforward thing, so.
Catherine seconds the motion.
And I could do roll call, and I believe we have quorum now because Catherine is here.
Great.
Al-Saraf,
Yes.
Whitemaster, Blakemore,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Friedman, Meeker,
Yes.
motion
I have
passes.
4.
4, motion passes.
Great. And just a reminder for next steps, we'll have the Trust Fund Commission meeting in February, the BOT meeting in May 2022, and then the revision will be out for public comment and hopefully final approval following that. So that concludes this topic. I just want to thank the working group members, Jim and Amin. I know we had some tight deadlines after the July 13 meeting, but I think we were able to take in the feedback and then I think present some solid recommendations that the community seems to be in favor of.
Thank you, Crystal, for all your work in synthesizing all of it. It seems straightforward now, but there was a lot to kind of go throughout this. So appreciate you putting it all together and then keeping us on track and focused on getting a recommendation that is well taken by everybody. So great. It looks like, is that it for our, I guess we can go back now to the approval of the minutes from last meeting. Is
Oh,
that?
yes, that's right. You can do that now.
We might be done in record time today.
Would someone like to move?
I can make the motion to approve.
Great. Thank you, Erica.
Mhm.
Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Great, thank you, Catherine. Okay. Al-Saraf,
Yes.
Whitemaster, Blakemore,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Friedman, Meeker,
Yes.
motion passes 4. Yeah.
Before we adjourn, just really quick on the updated work plan, the rules committee, the work plan. Dawn, are you able to, or are you planning to, and I'm sorry if you said this and it slipped my mind, but are you gonna recirculate to us the new work plan? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to recirculate it, but if you can give me a week, because we want to
Yeah.
see how expungements, and we'd like to tuck that in this year if possible, just to get the change in the rules, and that's like our priority. And so if you give me a week, then I'll recirculate that. But the next rules committee meeting in September 24th, for sure, we're going to be doing exchange funds and pass-through.
That's mine, isn't it?
That is yours, Erica.
Got it. I think that's me and Dan, right?
Yep.
It is so beautifully packaged. You're going to love it.
Oh, great. I'm excited because I haven't visited that for a while.
That's okay. Catherine gave some really good suggestions. And I think that we have an articulate position to present. So I look forward to sharing it shortly.
Great. Okay, great. That's good because my trial got moved to October 18th. So if we can do my thing in September, and then Are we trying to basically get like a big lump of package of like rules all together for that February 2022?
Well, we're trying to, there's some that we'd like to get in November, and this is why for this particular topic, it's not going to go to the commission until February, because if possible, we'd like to deal with expungements and some of the other foundational issues in November. And that meeting is pretty packed, so we won't be able to get through like 3 or 4, but we have a backlog right now.
Okay.
We'd like to present to the commission probably perhaps 2 or 3 of the codification issues. That's why this one is moved to February instead of November.
Got it. Because there's also, we haven't still don't resolved the other one that's on my list, which is the pro bono allocation.
And that one's going straight to the commission. We're not coming back to the committee. So we're hoping that that one can be included in November, but we're not sure right now.
Okay. I don't even know what we ended up resolving on that one to do, but
there were a lot of technical cleanups.
Got it. Okay. I'm sure I'll see it before November. So it doesn't have to go through the eligibility committee at all, right? Okay.
No.
Just want to make sure. Awesome. Okay. That's all I wanted to check on. Thank you.
And are we returning to the expungement question?
No, I think that covers all of our agenda items. I mean.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks, or depending on which committee you all are on in the next few weeks. All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.